Hi, everyone. I'm Ann Emerson, senior investigative reporter here at Criminally Obsessed, and we've got some exciting stories for you. Autumn, 30 years after pop star Selena's murder, this story is still making the news.
That's right. One of the first at the scene of the crime speaks out about the crazed killer.
Imagine your next door neighbor is running a brothel. Eric, what the heck is going on in South Florida?
And the details for the story are salacious and scary, but just wait till you hear how they actually crack this suburban sex case.
John, how does a Dallas bachelorette party end in bloodshed?
The facts of this story, Anne, have really struck a nerve with our audience.
And Megan, what on earth has a Portland man been finding in his recycling bin?
And all I can say is you're in for a shock. Coming up on Criminally Obsessed.
It's been 30 years since the young music sensation and honestly cultural icon Selena was murdered by her fan club president. We got the latest. Autumn, there's been a major update in this case. Can you tell me what's going on?
Absolutely. So the president of that fan club, Yolanda Saldivar, was up for parole and was denied that parole just 4 days shy of the 30th anniversary of the day she fatally shot Selena. Meanwhile, one of the first officers to respond to the shooting, John Houston, gave our Fox San Antonio an exclusive interview. And he's glad Saldivar is remaining behind bars.
No, it's not how it works. You get parole because you're sorry. You're truly sorry. You show remorse. You tell the truth. You know, you regret every action. Your whole life in prison is regretting what you did. So maybe I get a second chance. And that never happened here. It's just one lie after another.
So this is the first time she's been up for parole in 30 years. Now, this is a major moment. It's got to be causing a lot of emotion out there, just as we just heard on that sound we just heard in the interview. I mean, this is really getting to people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Selena is a cultural icon. You know, she was dubbed the Queen of Tejano. People not only in Texas and all over the country just adore her. And I think that it has angered a lot of people to just see Yolanda reemerge in the spotlight and, you know, hear that she feels that she should be able to be free after she murdered somebody that people loved so dearly.
Well, and this is an incredible interview that we're hearing. I mean, tell me about this man who's come forward to be interviewed about when Selena was killed.
So it's an incredible interview. He was one of the first on the scene after the shooting, and he actually spoke with Yolanda for about 3 hours after the shooting. And there was a standoff that took place for about 9 hours altogether. So he says that they spoke for about 3 until the next crew came in and took over. And you can tell by this interview that he really got into some real stuff with Yolanda, and he's pretty fed up at this point that she's speaking out and saying the things that she's saying, and he flat out calls her a liar and just says that, you know, as time has gone on, Yolanda's lies have evolved and grown, and she's just full of it. And he feels like at this time that it's his duty to speak up on behalf of the family and actually say the truth.
Well, I mean, Autumn, this is such an important moment too, isn't it? Because I mean, if she actually got out right now, and how the family would feel, and if he doesn't think that she's truly remorse in a parole hearing, I mean, that's got to be like number one, right? Eric, if you heard someone talking and they didn't sound remorseful, you know, why would we be letting them out of jail for a murder they committed 30 years ago?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. That's the answer to that question. Like, I would feel like they haven't truly learned their lesson or like realize that what they did was wrong. I mean, we saw this with Susan Smith like a few months ago, where like everybody could tell
That's
this
right.
woman
We were
clearly
there.
had no idea, or not no idea, but like no feeling towards the wrong that she caused. So it absolutely makes sense that they denied it. I would do the same.
Right. But
Well, and
is
it's got to be
remorse enough?
authentic.
Like
Exactly.
there-
Is remorse enough for like what she did?
I think that this was calculated. Her story has changed over and over and over. And, John Houston, the officer that was one of the first on the scene, he said another thing in that interview. He said that he believes that she should stay there forever because Selena doesn't get a second chance. And that stuck with me. And
Yeah.
that's just quite honestly how I feel.
Well, let's talk about Selena just for another second, too, because she was just this cultural icon. I remember when that murder happened because I was her age at that time. And it really affected me as far as that someone that young would be mowed down at like the pinnacle of her career, of her life. I mean, she was the queen of Tejano, which is like this Tex-Mex music. She really was bringing up a whole generation that was looking up to her.
She was doing really incredible things. And it's just such a terrible tragedy what happened because the family really trusted Yolanda and thought of her as, one of them. Like she was very, very close to the family and Selena.
Well, and Megan, I know you were you even born? You weren't, were you even born?
She's the
when-
baby.
She's the baby.
She's the baby.
No, I was
Megan,
not alive.
where, but tell me, you told me that you like were going to check in to Selena and find out more about her. What did you learn?
Yeah, so when I heard that Autumn was going to be talking about this story, I was like, oh, I need to do some research because I've always heard
Mhm.
the name Selena. I just didn't really know who she was. And so I decided that my research would be watching the movie. And I
Yes.
understand there may be some inaccuracies. But watching that story was just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, she was so young, so full of life, so humble, grateful, and then to be betrayed by someone who she trusted. Like that
Right.
is the worst part. Like I knew she was murdered. I did not know the story behind who murdered her. And that just made it so much worse. I was very emotional after watching the movie and could not stop researching more on her.
I think it's important too, for those who don't know, what happened was Yolanda was managing the fan club and Selena's boutique because she was branching out. She had incredible style. I mean, everybody who's anybody has been Selena once for Halloween, right? So she was managing
So
the fan
true.
club and the boutique, and things just paychecks weren't coming through, and the fan club members started saying like, hey, I'm not getting like my little package with all my goodies. And it turns out she was embezzling lots of money through fraudulent checks, like about $30,000. So on the day that she murdered Selena, they actually were meeting up because Selena needed financial documents since they were sort of, cutting her out of the deal there. And that's ultimately what happened here, which is just so unfortunate.
I was going to say, I'm glad that you gave the full backstory because I've been woefully ignorant of what actually happened, or at the very least, I have forgotten what happened. And I remember that, like, paradoxical, like being obsessed, but also embezzling, which stealing from the person you're obsessed with, and then also murdering them. It's bizarre and doesn't make any sense. And it also kind of makes sense that she is still unrepentant today because it's this kind of cognitive schism that defies logic.
Autumn, thank you so much for researching this story on Selena for us. It's fascinating, and it's something, it's going to stay with us, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The top boss in a prostitution ring that uses illegal migrants as sex workers has been arrested.
Okay, Eric. So this is a story that's been investigated by the CBS 12 I-Team out of South Florida for the last 2 years. What is going on?
So get this, Anne. We have 3 individuals who are running 2 competing prostitution rigs in Palm Beach County. So the neighbors would see men coming in and out of rental homes, usually around 20 or more in a day. Instead of calling the cops, they reached out to reporter Carlos Maecha at CBS 12, who investigated along with their chief investigator, Mike Magnoli. After their investigation, they ended up calling the police and telling them there's something bigger going on.
I know Mags. He's a great reporter. That is
Do
a
you really?
serious- Yeah, no, I totally do. He is fantastic. And so is Carlos. I know Carlos is fantastic too. But I know Mags and I know his attitude, man. What did these reporters find out?
Now, the neighbors, the reason why they contacted the CBS team rather than the police is that a lot of them are immigrants. They were worried about them getting wrapped up in the investigation. But also, and I found this to be really interesting, they were worried about getting kicked out of their apartments because the people who ran the apartment complex, like not the people running the brothel, but like the actual landlords, had some sort of idea of what was going on, but they weren't necessarily looking into it. It was kind of a I'll just turn the other way. As long as you're paying your rent, we'll be fine. And if you come calling the cops and bringing a lot of attention to this situation, they're worried that they and their families are going to be put out on the streets. So in a weird way, I kind of understand why they had to go an alternative route for this.
So the investigative team starts looking into it, and it just gets worse and worse. Tell me some of the really big things that they uncovered when they were going through this.
So they uncovered that there's a large-scale brothel ring or sex operation going on, and about we don't have a specific number, but from what I heard, it's 40 to 50 women in different houses having sex with men on the daily. They say that based on what the neighbors have told us, they say that these women are coming from within the state, they're coming from out of state, even out of the country, and they were
organized, right? They were organized.
Oh,
they
yeah.
had business cards. Tell me about these business cards.
The business card method is one of the more unique things that I've ever seen for a low-key operation. So what they would do is that they would have these business cards that said, hey, get the best empanadas in Florida here at, and they wouldn't have an actual address. They would just have the name of the spot. But on the back of it, they would have a map, and the map would have no actual address, but it would have landmarks. So you'd see oh, there's a car dealership over here. There's a school.
So this is
over
how you
here.
get to us.
That's how you get to us, and there'd just be an X. But the problem was, because a lot of people didn't know where they're actually going, they would end up accidentally in other people's houses and just wait around for sex.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you just gotta think a family of four.
They're
and there's
knocking
a grown
on the
man
door, hey.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate and not great for the kids. But yeah, they were doing this. Yeah.
Neighbors, what are the neighbors must just be, besides horrified, you never know. I mean, right, Autumn? No, you'd never know what's going on with your neighbors, do you?
Oh no, I would be calling the police nonstop if weird men were showing up at my house. No, absolutely not. Mm-mm.
But once again, this is the thing. You can call the police because you have no fear of this. Also, you live in a residential neighborhood, I'm sure you're fine. But these people, I totally get why they were we have to call the news and let them do the job for us,
Yeah.
Well, yes. And I mean, this is a community that wants to feel protected. I mean, they don't want to be in the limelight with this stuff. The last thing they want to be talking about is some kind of sex ring or brothel going on in their neighborhood. I mean, it's just you don't want to be associated with crime. And it sounds like this community also might have been dealing with some language barriers as well at times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the fact that they contacted Carlos, who speaks Spanish, they didn't contact Mike. It makes sense.
Right.
They needed somebody who could really convey what they were going through. And if you listen to a lot of the 911 calls, there was a 911 call for the other operation that wasn't even connected to the one that was initially called about. This woman speaking full Spanish, but the only thing that you can hear at the very end in English was "I don't want to die," because she was being trafficked into one of these brothels. It's
oh my gosh.
heartbreaking.
Can
It's
we
terrifying.
hear that 911 call?
Totally.
Por favor, no me quiero morir aquí. Please, I don't want to die.
Okay, so back to my question. I got to know from the group here. You've got to tell me what you think. You never know what's going. Who's had a creepy neighbor? I mean, right? Who hasn't had a creepy neighbor at some point? I mean, John, have you ever had to deal with I don't know, when you're in an apartment and you're what are my guys doing upstairs? Or what did they just carry in those bags? I mean, doesn't everybody at some point think their neighbors look kind of suspicious?
I have to wonder if maybe I'm the creepy neighbor to some people.
Oh my God.
To be completely honest.
Sadly, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure people are is that guy actually live in the building?
Welcome to Criminally Obsessed.
Yeah. But no, I mean, of course, everybody's kind of had that situation where, nobody talks to their neighbors anymore, especially in a urban
That's a really
setting
good point.
So it's kind of hard to kind of feel like you have any sort of knowledge fully of anybody in your neighborhood. But going back to the sex trafficking thing, that's an aspect of these cases that I feel like, even in this conversation, kind of came in late in the conversation, and that's something that I feel like happens far too often. That like those are victims often, the people who are actually doing the sex work.
Well, and as
So
we start like really looking into this too, Eric, please let us know what Mags and Carlos find out about this case. I mean, it sounds like it's ongoing, and we really appreciate you looking into it for us.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, will do.
It's just shocking. It's just hard to believe. It just feels like a lot of my experiences were taken away from me.
This next story takes us to Dallas. Now, this is a bride-to-be who is brutally attacked just weeks before her wedding. John, what can we hear about what's going on in this case?
yeah, so Canada Rinaldi was in Texas for her bachelorette party. She was coming out of a club with her friends when this man, Trevon Woodards, just violently attacks her for seemingly no reason. We have this video right after the incident. Canada suffered a broken nose, 3 broken teeth, and needed 8 stitches.
I mean, this story has struck a chord with the people that are on our social media. I mean, Criminally Obsessed has been overwhelmed by the amount of comments that are coming in about this story. It really has upset a lot of people. John, what are we hearing and what are you thinking about this case?
So yeah, it's I think got 550,000 views last I checked. It's only been up for a couple days. People have really seemed to it's struck a chord, and there's a reason why. It's because it is a brutal beating, and she lost consciousness before she even hit the ground. Now the comments are they are comment sections, and people have all had experiences looking at comment sections and just sort of
Right.
fighting
They're
back and
probably
forth.
going at each other too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some of the comments though, like get into victim blaming, and
Oh, saying it's like her fault?
saying that it's her fault, which of course is
Oh, that's
like there is
crazy.
no possible way that no matter what you can imagine that you think that she did, nothing warrants being beaten that brutally. But there's people saying, oh, Canada must have said something to him before he threw the first punch, which doesn't really make any sense to me anyway, because if they were in a verbal altercation, how could he have like cold cocked her, like sucker punch, basically, without her expecting it? It just doesn't really make sense to me. So
I just want to hear, what does everybody think about it in this room? I mean, look, we have a lot of bachelorette parties going on in Charleston where I live. So I see this on the streets all the time. I mean, we've all seen this group of girls walking down. This is so senseless and random. Autumn, what was your first takeaway when you heard about this?
Oh, I mean, it's horrible. Like, I think no one deserves that to happen to them. But, I don't want to stray away. Like, yeah, are bachelorette parties annoying? Absolutely. Look, I live in Austin and I get it. I get that they're annoying, but that doesn't mean that this is okay. I also don't think it's okay to go to comment sections and say that like someone deserves to get beat for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we can agree that they're annoying and also say like this is absolutely like uncalled for and totally wrong. Like I went and did my own digging. I found their wedding registry and they're getting married in like a few weeks and it just like broke my heart.
Yeah, because that wedding's thrown
Completely.
off completely.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to shift
Eric,
everything.
you got
like,
married pretty recently, right? I mean,
Yeah,
what would this do to your whole like? I mean, you're literally going full speed ahead, so excited, and then something like this horrific happens.
well, husband rage. I'm coming for blood. Like I will be the next subject on Criminally
Hell yeah.
Obsessed if someone hits my wife. But I mean, like my heart would be broken because this entire like there's so much planning that goes into a wedding, the date, the amount of money, like everything, and everything about that has to be shifted now so that your wife can get healthy, your wife can get like her face fixed, her teeth fixed. Like that's more money going out to get all that taken care of. I feel so bad for her, and like do we even have a reason why this guy did it? Like, whether it was because he was annoyed, or if it was that dumbass hit game that everybody was doing back in the day where they're just cold cocking people in the street. I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed about it.
Or was there a mental health issue? I think what's really bothering. Well, yeah. I mean, it could be a mental health issue. We haven't, John, do we know anything about that?
So, I looked into Trayvon's history. He has 7 misdemeanors, one of them for a violent assault. But they're still misdemeanors. They weren't felonies.
Okay. So he's been known to get physical.
He's had problems, absolutely.
Right.
But I mean, my personal opinion, this has to be a mental health issue. I mean, it seems like punching somebody for no reason defines mental health issues. So I don't know. I take both sides of it. I feel very bad for her, but I also am like, how does somebody get to that
clearly
point?
Needs help.
Somebody
Megan,
help,
I mean, are you protecting, like, when you're out there with a group of young women out on the streets? I mean, how do you keep each other safe?
I mean, it's kind of difficult to really say, because this sort of case shows that no matter what you do, you kind of can't keep each other safe. Like, you're told not to walk alone at night, so you bring your friends. She's in a public space and everything, and she's still getting hit. So you just kind of have to be on edge and prepared at all times, which is so terrible and so scary. I mean, personally, I carry around my pepper spray that's disguised as lipstick, so nobody knows what it is. But
good for
you just have to be prepared at all times. And that is just like an awful way to live. And then the fact that crimes just happen like this anywhere at any time is despicable.
Well, and head on a swivel, right? Like, head on a swivel. Like, you're not allowed to just walk around chit-chatting or staring at your phone. Like, oh God, I'm not even getting into like I've had, that is like the way one of my cases disappeared. Like, one of the major ways people just get snatched off the street. So it's no joke. For sure. I think what's really bothering me about this case is this random acts of violence. I've been watching this trend, like subways, we've been hearing about it. There was an attack on Times Square, and not on Times Square, in Times Square with one person. And I mean, is random acts of violence on the rise, or are we just hearing about it and like, and exposing it?
That's exactly my question, is like, is this a real phenomenon, or is it just the fact that we're so interconnected and seeing that, these stories, again, like, they go viral because they resonate. But then the fact is that this was an isolated incident in the city that I don't live in, but it makes me feel in Baltimore as if I'm, afraid for increasing violence on the street, when that might not necessarily be the case.
Is it happening more and more? I mean, I guess that's what really scares me about it. But John, man, thank you so much for bringing us this story. We are certainly going to keep on watching the comments on this. I agree. Like, as we discuss these cases, we need to find solutions as well. And it's also a forum to like talk about, like, how do we keep each other safe in the streets? And especially when we're supposed to be celebrating. So thanks so much for the story.
Absolutely.
So I went to open the blue bin, and lo and behold, there was a nice deposit of gallon-sized bottles of urine, to put it plainly. And there were 6 of them.
So as the one that has to drag the trash and the recycling bins down to the curbside every week, I'm telling you, this story seriously pissed me off. Megan, tell me what's going on with the Urine Bandit.
And this has been going on since September. A man is leaving urine by the gallon in Alex Van Dyne's recycling bins. He even has the guy and his car on video, but he still has no idea who the Urine Bandit is, or more importantly, why he's doing it.
Oh, so there is no reason why this guy would have gallons of urine. I mean, I'm not surprised that he doesn't know why, because I cannot even, that is so much urine. Okay, everybody. We are good at conspiracy theories around here. Can you give me some of your conspiracy theories of why? And I've got one, and nobody steal it. Start. Who's got the worst conspiracy theory on gallons of urine in your trash can?
Well, I want to say that first, the neighbors, he's gotten some suggestions from his neighbors. And the thing here is, like, it's not illegal to keep urine by the gallon, But it is wrong to dump it in someone else's recycling bin. I think that's a big thing. Like, put it in the garbage at least, but the recycling people don't take it. Anyway, the neighbors think that the urine bandit has people kidnapped and he's trying to dispose of their waste in a way that doesn't link it to him, and it's all mysterious and big crime. I don't feel like that's the case.
That
Why
sounds a
wouldn't you
lot
just
of
throw
that
it
sounds like
out,
a lot of
like,
work.
somewhere else?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
There's a
Like
very
down the
convenient
toilet?
way to dispose of your urine. I mean, it's in everybody's household. So,
Like, why would you do it in somebody else's trash can? That brings more attention to it.
Yeah. Okay,
See, this-
serious
did-
theory. I think maybe this person lives in their car, and
Okay.
when they're
Oh
like
my
in their
God.
car, they're
Oh.
using that as their toilet, and they
No.
probably just think that, oh, whatever, like this person won't know, so I'm just gonna like put it in the recycling, and they probably don't recycle because they want to like do good, and they think that they're doing the right thing. That's
they
my
could
theory.
just dump it
recycle
down the
urine.
gutter.
Maybe they don't know that.
Let me
See,
say
okay,
this.
so I was going dark. I was thinking this was a guy or gal that was involved in like drug testing. Would you like need a lot of urine for drug testing?
Not
I
that
don't think you
much.
need that
Then
much.
how did
No,
it end up
that's
in the
6 gallons.
recycling?
Also, it's only good
What?
for a certain amount of time after it
Ah,
Mm.
leaves your
It's a
body.
lot of
Okay.
urine, Anne.
that is a lot of urine. That is, I mean, how many times can we say
Yeah.
the word urine? It's just so gross, Megan. That's this
Yeah.
story is. I mean, are they doing anything to try and to catch the guy? I mean, do we feel like they're
Mhm.
getting any closer to catching him?
Okay, so Alex Van Dyne, he has a camera outside of his house, and he's been trying, and he did catch this guy on camera. There is footage, but he hasn't been able to catch the license plate. So he's filed a police report, but the police really can't do much until we get a license plate. So he has been setting out his recycling again because he used to pull it in until the very last second in a
Mhm.
different location, hoping that the cameras can get a different angle and finally get the license plate.
Do we have any clues to like I mean, see, okay, now now I'm going down the rabbit hole of a urine bandit. The
Yes.
gallon jugs. Did you look and see what kind of gallon jugs they were?
I did not look too closely at the jugs of urine, Anne.
I don't blame you. I don't
I
blame
think I
you.
have seen the brand though. Like it's a pretty popular brand.
Is
but
it
I
Crystal
cannot-
Geyser?
Maybe it
Were
is.
they
I think
square? No.
so. Yeah,
Okay.
the square ones. Yeah.
There were
Or
a bunch
no.
of different types of bottles because this has happened on multiple occasions. I mean, this started in September.
What? How many times has this happened?
It's
Like
happened
a lot?
Like it started in September, and then it happened again to this specific guy in February. So he pulled in his recycling bins, and then it started happening to his neighbors. The next week, it happened to another
Oh.
neighbor, and then he posted on like the next door page where you can like communicate with your neighborhood. And
Oh God, I
it
would love
turns
to
out
read
it's been
those
happening
comments.
to other people in the neighborhood.
I wonder
Megan,
if
I
it's
have a
happening anywhere
question.
else. I mean, could we like do like a search and just see if there's anywhere else in the country where you've heard about people like throwing urine away in recycling bins? I don't know. Maybe it's a new thing that we just haven't seen yet. Or maybe it will
Let's
become a
hope
new
not.
thing. Oh, it's just so disgusting. Well, look, that's all we have for this week on Criminally Obsessed. Thanks so much to my amazing colleagues who brought me these stories today. You are all amazing, amazing. And we would like you to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or if you think you know who the Urine Bandit is, let us know in the comments below. And we'll see you here next week. Thanks.